The streets are quiet, but that silence is lying when the noise finally hits. It won't sound like chaos at first, it will sound like power moving hands. Like control slipping from the wrong people and like one man deciding he's done waiting. Tommy Egan is standing at the edge of something big, and once he steps forward, nothing in Chicago will stay the same. The city feels tense in a way no one wants to talk about. People are still moving money, still smiling in meetings, still acting like the rules haven't changed. But under all of that, everyone feels it. Something is off. The balance that once kept things steady is cracking, and even the strongest players sense it. Tommy has learned how this city breathes, how it panics, and how it lies to itself before everything burns. He isn't rushing, he's watching, and that's what makes this moment dangerous. When a man like Tommy stops reacting and starts waiting, it means he's already chosen his target. The streets don't know it yet, but the calm they're enjoying is borrowed time. Tommy's position right now is stronger than it looks, but also more risky than ever. He has influence, muscle, and experience, yet he's surrounded by people who want his spot or want him gone. Some smile to his face, others whisper behind his back, and a few are already planning for life after him. Tommy sees all of it. He knows who's nervous when he enters a room and who avoids his eyes. This isn't his first war, but this one feels different. Chicago isn't New York, and the rules here bend in strange ways. Tommy understands that one loud move could turn everyone against him, so he holds back. Every second he waits makes his enemies more unsure. Fear grows best when it has no clear shape. What makes this moment powerful is that Tommy isn't angry or wild. He's focused. The rage that once pushed him into reckless choices has turned into patience. He knows power isn't about who shouts the loudest or pulls the trigger first, it's about timing. He lets others think they're winning, he lets them believe he's boxed in. That illusion gives them confidence. And confidence makes people careless. Somewhere in this city, someone is already making a mistake. Thinking Tommy is out of options, that mistake will matter more than any bullet ever could. As episode 7 begins to unfold, the feeling is clear. This is not about a single deal or a single threat. This is about control of the future. Tommy is standing between keeping peace and breaking everything open. The people around him don't realize how close they are to being forced into choosing sides. Once Tommy makes his move, loyalty will stop being a word and start being a test. The power struggle hasn't started yet, but the line has already been drawn. And when it finally breaks, everyone will know exactly who they underestimated. Tommy is no longer playing the game the way everyone expects him to in the past. People knew his patterns. They knew his anger, his quick decisions, and the way he would charge straight into danger without looking back. But now, something has shifted. Tommy is quieter, sharper, and far more controlled. He listens more than he speaks, and when he does speak, every word has weight. This version of Tommy understands that power doesn't come from speed, it comes from control. The people around him mistake this silence for weakness. And that is exactly what gives him the upper hand. Behind closed doors, Tommy is already moving pieces without making noise. He studies how people react to small changes, who panics when pressure rises, and who starts asking the wrong questions. He knows that real strategy doesn't announce itself. It hides in normal conversations, delayed responses, and choices that look harmless on the surface. Every delay is planned, every pause is intentional. Tommy is letting others believe they are guiding the direction of things, while he quietly shapes the outcome. This is not hesitation. This is patience sharpened into a weapon. What makes this strategy dangerous is that Tommy isn't just thinking about today. He's thinking about what happens after the dust settles. He understands that winning one fight means nothing if it creates 10 new enemies tomorrow, so instead of burning bridges, he weakens them slowly. He lets rival players grow unsure of their own allies. He allows doubt to spread, because doubt destroys organizations faster than violence ever could. When people stop trusting each other, power collapses from the inside. Tommy knows this, and he's counting on it. There's also a personal side to this move that no one sees coming. Tommy is done being underestimated and done being used as someone else's weapon. He wants full control, not borrowed authority. That means cutting emotional ties. Even the ones that once mattered. Old friendships become risks. Familiar faces become possible threats. This is where Tommy draws a line between who he was and who he is becoming. The man he is now understands that survival sometimes means walking alone, and he's prepared for that loneliness if it gives him freedom. As the silent strategy continues, the tension grows heavier with every scene. People feel it, even if they can't explain it. Meetings end faster, conversations feel forced. Smiles don't last as long. Tommy's calm presence becomes unsettling, because no one knows what he's thinking anymore. They don't know where the hit is coming from, or if it's coming at all. That uncertainty is exactly what Tommy wants. By the time his next move becomes clear, it will already be too late for anyone to stop it. The shift in power doesn't happen with gunfire or loud threats, it starts quietly. In the way people look at each other, the top players in Chicago begin to feel something slipping. Even though nothing clear has happened yet, calls go unanswered. Meetings feel tense, deals that once felt solid now feel rushed or forced. Everyone senses that control is no longer sitting where it used to. No one can say Tommy's name out loud in connection to it, but everyone is thinking it. When power starts moving without explanation, fear follows close behind. Rival leaders begin questioning their own strength. Some believe they are still in charge. But doubt creeps in fast. They replay past conversations with Tommy, trying to figure out what they missed. Was he listening more than usual? Did he already know something they didn't? That doubt eats at them. Strong men start acting small. They overreact, push too hard, or make moves too early. That's how cracks form. Tommy doesn't need to touch them yet. They are already damaging themselves by trying to protect power that's no longer secure. Within their own crews, tension rises. Soldiers notice their bosses acting nervous. Orders change without explanation. Trust fades. When leadership becomes uncertain, everyone below starts looking for a way out or a way up. Some start thinking about switching sides, others start planning for chaos. This is how power really breaks apart, not from outside attacks, but from fear spreading inside the walls. Tommy understands this better than anyone. He's seen it happen before. He knows that when leaders lose confidence, loyalty becomes a risk instead of a strength. Even those who once felt untouchable start to feel exposed. They increase security, carry more weapons, and surround themselves with people they don't fully trust. That alone shows weakness. Power is supposed to feel calm, not desperate. The streets notice these changes fast. Word travels, and once it does, respect begins to fade. People don't follow fear for long, they follow stability, and right now, stability is nowhere to be found. Everyone is waiting for something to happen. And waiting is the worst position to be in. As the pressure builds, small choices start having big effects. One wrong meeting, one careless word, one delayed response can shift everything. The power players don't realize that the game has already changed. They're still reacting, still trying to control outcomes that are already slipping away. Tommy's presence looms over every move they make, even when he's not there. That's the real shift. Power no longer belongs to those making noise. It belongs to the one who understands when to stay silent and let the fear do the work. Loyalty is no longer simple, and that's what makes this moment dangerous. People who once stood side by side now hesitate before answering calls or sharing plans. Trust feels thin, like glass that could break with one wrong word. Everyone is watching everyone else, trying to figure out who is still solid and who is already planning their escape. In a world built on loyalty, doubt spreads faster than any rumor. Tommy knows this, and he knows that once doubt takes hold, relationships begin to crack under their own weight. Some characters are forced into choices they never wanted to make. Staying loyal means risking everything, while switching sides could bring short-term safety but long-term regret. These are not easy decisions, and hesitation only makes them worse. People start holding back information, testing reactions, and sending quiet signals to see who might listen. Every move feels heavy because one mistake could turn a friend into an enemy overnight. This is where power stops being about strength and starts being about survival. Old bonds are tested the hardest. History doesn't protect anyone anymore. Favors from the past don't carry the same value when fear controls the present. People remember what Tommy is capable of, but they also remember what their current bosses might do if they sense betrayal. That pressure crushes loyalty from both sides. When you're trapped between two dangerous futures, betrayal starts to feel less like a choice and more like an outcome. That's how lines get crossed without warning. Tommy understands that betrayal doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from panic. Sometimes it comes from people trying to protect their families, their money, or their own lives. He doesn't judge it, he plans for it. He expects people to break under pressure, and that expectation gives him clarity. While others are shocked by betrayal, Tommy is already prepared for it. He doesn't react with emotion, he reacts with solutions. That's what separates him from everyone else in this moment. As tensions rise, conversations become shorter and more careful, promises sound empty, eye contact disappears. Everyone feels the walls closing in, but no one wants to admit it. This is the stage where betrayal becomes inevitable, not because people want to turn on each other, but because the system no longer allows loyalty to survive. Tommy's world is changing, and anyone who refuses to adapt risks being crushed by it. By the end of this section, it's clear that the lines have already been broken. Even if no one has admitted it out loud, loyalty has turned into a gamble, trust has become a weakness, and betrayal is no longer shocking, it's expected. The power struggle isn't just happening on the streets or in meetings. It's happening inside people's minds, and once that kind of war begins, there's no clean way out. The moment Tommy's move becomes impossible to ignore, everything starts to break at once. What was once whispered in corners now spreads openly through the streets. People realize too late that this was never a rumor or a bluff. It was a plan waiting for the right time to surface. Meetings turn chaotic, orders clash, and authority is questioned in ways it never was before. The power structure that held everything together begins to shake, not because of one violent act, but because control has quietly changed hands. Crews that once moved with confidence now hesitate. No one is sure whose word still matters. Some leaders try to tighten their grip, pushing harder to prove they're still in charge. Others pull back, hoping the storm will pass without touching them. Both choices lead to failure. Power doesn't respond well to panic or delay. Tommy understands this, and that's why his timing matters more than the move itself. By the time others react, they're already behind. The streets feel different almost overnight. Money stops flowing the same way. Protection feels uncertain. Old rules no longer apply, and new ones haven't been agreed on yet. That gap creates chaos. People act on instinct instead of strategy. Mistakes pile up fast. Allies turn into liabilities. Decisions made in fear spread damage far beyond their original intent. This is how empires fall, not in one dramatic moment, but through a series of rushed choices made under pressure. Tommy doesn't rush to take credit for the chaos, he lets it speak for itself. Power doesn't need a speech when it's real. His name starts coming up in conversations again, not as a threat, but as a reality. People begin to ask what side he's really on, and whether standing against him is even possible anymore. That uncertainty forces people into motion. Some reach out to him quietly. Others prepare for war. Either way, the balance has shifted. What makes this power struggle dangerous is that it's no longer about survival alone. It's about dominance. Everyone wants to be the one standing when the dust settles. That desire pushes people to cross lines they once swore they never would. Violence becomes easier, betrayal becomes casual. The city starts eating itself from the inside, and there's no clear winner in sight yet. By the end of this stage, it's clear that nothing can return to the way it was. The structure that once kept order is gone, new power is forming, but it's unstable and raw. Tommy didn't just challenge the system, he exposed how weak it really was. And once a system is exposed, it can never be trusted again. The fallout doesn't arrive all at once. It spreads slowly, like damage you don't notice until it's everywhere. After Tommy's move, the city doesn't explode immediately. Instead, it drifts into something worse: uncertainty. People wake up not knowing which rules still matter or which alliances will hold until nightfall. That kind of fear changes behavior. It makes even smart players act on instinct, and instinct is rarely smart in a power war. New enemies begin to rise from the mess. Some are familiar faces who waited quietly for the right moment. Others come from nowhere, pulled up by the chaos Tommy created. When power breaks apart, it leaves open space, and open space invites ambition. Everyone wants a piece of what's left. These new players don't respect the old order or the sacrifices that built it. They only see opportunity. That makes them reckless and unpredictable, which makes them dangerous. Tommy understands that winning this move doesn't mean he's safe. It means he's exposed. With old threats weakened, new ones start testing his limits. Small challenges appear first: missed payments, delayed responses, quiet disrespect. Each one is a question asking how far Tommy will go to protect what he's taken. He doesn't answer immediately. He watches, he measures. Because responding too fast would reveal fear, and responding too slow would invite more pressure. This is the tightrope he now walks. The emotional cost begins to show as well. Power demands distance, and distance creates loneliness. Tommy carries the weight of knowing every choice he makes will hurt someone, whether it's an enemy or an ally. Trust becomes rare. Conversations feel guarded. Even moments of calm carry tension underneath. This is the price of control. You gain authority, but you lose certainty. Tommy accepts that trade because he knows hesitation would destroy him faster than isolation ever could. The streets start adjusting to the new reality. People learn who they can approach and who they should avoid. New rules form quietly. Not written or announced, but understood. Respect shifts direction. Fear finds new targets. The city reshapes itself around the power vacuum, and once that process begins, it can't be stopped. Tommy isn't just reacting to change anymore, he's part of what defines it. As the episode closes, one truth becomes clear. This move was never about ending a war, it was about starting a new era. The battles ahead will be quieter, more personal, and far more dangerous. There will be no clean victories, only survival. Tommy has chosen this path fully, knowing there's No turning back, and as the city adjusts to his presence at the center of power, one question remains unanswered: how long can anyone hold control in a world built on chaos?